So now French senators want this so-called republic recognized by France. Of course, as you may guess, the resolution was introduced and passed at the behest of the large and wealthy Armenian diaspora in France. France is home to around 500,000 ethnic Armenians. They are wealthy and they have lots of money. If French senators are crazy about independence for Karabakh and are ready to open the Pandora's box and support separatism, then they should perhaps start with many French overseas territories who have yearned for independence for many centuries now. This is the reason why the French government looks disinclined to fulfilling the Armenian lobby's wish. French President Macron said last week that Nagorno-Karabakh and 7 adjacent districts are part of Azerbaijan under international law, as recognized by the United Nations. He said it directly to Armenians in Paris. And after this resolution, the French Foreign Ministry said that France did not plan to recognize Nagorno-Karabakh as an independent country. That's also fair. France is one of the mediators of the Minsk group that deals with the conflict. Therefore, France is supposed to be neutral, an honest broker. If France has actually been neutral, it's been highly questionable. During the latest escalation, France openly took Armenia's side. President Macron, his pro-Armenian bias is based both on his personal relationship with the Armenian diaspora as well as is nurtured by his extreme anti-Turkish bias. It seems to be hard for him to accept Turkey's increased role in the South Caucasus in general and in the Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict in particular. This also coincided with rising Islamophobia in France. The mediator status of France as a co-chair of the Minsk group is already being questioned as there are calls in Azerbaijan to revoke this status. We will see soon how things will turn out. You can trust me to bring forth the best information for this part of the world. Yes, I'm Raoul Lowery Contreras, and there aren't many people in the West who have stood on the, quote, line of contact, unquote, and watched Armenian shells being fired from one part of Azerbaijan, the occupied part, to another part of the country, the free part. I'm one of the few that has seen damage inflicted by artillery barrages on Azerbaijani citizens, or asked why so many wells and canals costing millions of dollars are necessary for Azerbaijani farmers to work and produce in an area that has been watered by streams and rivers from the Nagorno-Karabakh mountains since the beginning of time. Answer: Armenians blocked natural water flows from the Karabakh in an attempt to turn a historically rich agricultural land into a desert, just like they did in Agdam. There, they turned a thriving city of 50,000 into an urban desert with no one living there and where not a single building still stands since they occupied the place. I will bring you news of what really goes on in the lands, villages, towns, and cities that have been liberated by Azerbaijanis. Why? Tell you why. Because interviews I've conducted in Azerbaijan have deeply impressed me and reminded me that Americans have never been bombarded by enemies on a nightly basis. Example, the young woman who told me that she and the other children of her village went to bed wearing their shoes so they could run to bomb shelters when Armenian guns shelled her village at night. Or the woman, then 20, who was captured by Armenian forces in February 1992 in a town called Kojali, tortured, raped, and thrown onto a pile of trash to die. Over 600 of her neighbors, men, women, and children, unarmed men, women, and children, were massacred by Armenian forces that night. You don't have to believe me. Human Rights Watch documented it. Or how about the other teenage woman who gave birth to a baby during a bombardment, was captured and forced to march to another Armenian-held town where she and her 3-day-old baby were held until they were traded to Azerbaijan for grain and oil. or being surrounded by internally displaced persons who were forced from their homes by invading Armenians in the very territory just liberated from a 27-year-long occupation. Older people holding my hand and telling me, they gathered around me and they held my hand and they begged me to help them go home. I'm not a tin man. These experiences affected me deeply. That's why I spend time passing information to you, information you may not get anywhere else. Thank you for being there. I'm Raoul Lowery Contreras, and this is the Contreras Report International Edition in the last days of November 2020. If you subscribe to this, you will be instantly notified of new programs when they are uploaded. Thank you for being there.